Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another day of Before Coffee. It is Good Tuesday News Day, so all positive news about all the good things that have been happening in the last few weeks and maybe even today. Let's go ahead and get into our headlines. Today on Before Coffee, first person convicted of cyber flashing in England and Wales is jailed.
Good news, Americans want to be remembered for their creativity, not fame or fortune.
They're in the money. Ethiopian bank glitch pays out millions. And Notre Dame's cathedral restoration has been a 5-year journey of dedication and recovery.
More good news, cancer rates are down in England, and we have more good cancer news from England, and a UFC fighter is a hero.
We may have the next James Bond.
That's it?
Yeah, that's what that's the headline.
That was threw me off, man. Those stories and more, which my timing is off. Those stories and more, which is National Let's Laugh Day. That's why I was laughing. March 19th, 2024 on Before Coffee. Yay.
All right, our first news story is coming out of the Irish News by Paul Allingham, PA. The first person ever convicted of cyber flashing is going to be jailed. They have been convicted of the offense and been jailed for 66 weeks, which is there's 50 weeks in a no, that's not right. Is there 50? There's 50 weeks in a year, so a year. Ish. A little over a year they're being jailed. Nicholas Hawks was convicted under the Online Safety Act after cyber flashing became an offense on January 31st this year. Tell all your male friends or people with penises that watch out because you can be jailed, at least in the UK. The 39-year-old from Basildon, Essex, was already a convicted sex offender when he sent unsolicited images of erect penis to a 15-year-old girl and a woman on February 9th, the CPS said. Wow, a double homicide. He couldn't do just one person, he had to do it twice. The woman took screenshots of the photograph on WhatsApp and reported him to Essex police the same day. Fox admitted during an earlier hearing at Southern Magistrates Court to 2 counts of sending a photograph or film of genitalia to cause alarm, distress, or humiliation. He was jailed at Southern Crown Court on Tuesday, which was today is Tuesday, the 19th of March, unless this was a different date. When did this come out? No, it was today, today. Unless it was last Tuesday. I don't know, they just say Tuesday. March 19th. They were arrested for their cyber flashing crime. Cyber flashing can involve offenders sending people an unsolicited sexual image on social media, dating apps, Bluetooth, or AirDrop. Victims of the offense and other images-based abuses receive lifelong anonymity under the Sexual Offense Act from the point they report it. Hawks was already on the sex offenders registry until November 2023 after last year being convicted of sexual activity with a child under 16 years old and exposure for which he received a community order. On Tuesday, he pleaded guilty to breaching the order and breaching suspended sentence for another sexual offense. Don't send dick pics, especially if you're on the sex offenders list. Are you dumb? But I guess some people just need therapy, honestly. Like, they need therapy. They have some problems and they need to talk through them with somebody that's not a child. Anyways, good news for women out there who living in the UK who get cyber flashed and want some sort of protections, because you are given lifelong anonymity if you are filing against somebody who's committed a sexual crime against you. They cannot ever post your name and say sex crime was committed on blah blah blah. You're a nobody. It's the crime giver that deserves of the press, because people need to know that he's sending unsolicited dick pics to people. Either way, that's my good news for the women out there. Probably bad news for men out there. Some men, not all men. And your story
Nobody I know personally, because it's never happened to me.
I mean, who's bragging going, hey, I sent 10 dick pics yesterday? Nobody's doing that, are they?
I have no idea what women go through, but I had a small idea. But I definitely would report somebody if they sent me a dick pic. I would not hesitate for a second. I would go to the FBI in 3 seconds because I'm a man and it would really piss me off. And I'd be like, hey, look at this guy. He's going to prison. Internet, that would be federal crime, I believe, right? Federal crime because it crosses state lines.
Wow.
International commerce. Anything that's illegal on the phone is a federal law. Anyway, in the United States, anyway. Most countries, it's federal law, federal law, federal law. We have 50 states, so 50 different sets of laws, which are very hard to wade through sometimes. And the good news in America, Americans want to be remembered for their creativity, not their fame or fortune. This is from Good News Network. No byline, no name on this one. Just we all got together as a group and put it out there. All right. It's not fortune or fame Americans want to be remembered for. It's their creativity, according to a new poll. A survey of 2,000 adults in the U.S. revealed that at the end of their lives, 31% would rather leave their mark through creativity than through wealth, which is 14%, or humanitarian efforts, which is 10%.
Anything but being famous, basically.
Well, yeah, creativity. What did that guy do while he was here? Well, he built that bridge. That reminds me of Johnny the Goat Fucker joke, but we won't get into that. That's like, you see that bridge? I built that, but nobody talks about Johnny the Bill Bridger. Anyway, that's likely to come true too because 79% of respondents consider themselves creativity, but only 5% say they don't. Nearly 3/4, 72%, admitted they wish they engaged in creative activities more often. In fact, some of those surveyed say they alleviate or combat stress through creative writing, painting, and drawing or doodling. The top 3 motivators for people to get more creative are sharing with the world, 27%, bonding with friends and family, 24%, and wanting to relax or relieving stress, 22%. Regardless of how respondents categorized themselves, 77% admitted they were more likely to explore their creativity if they were more confident in their abilities. Conducted by OnePoll, which is a polling organization, OnePoll, on behalf of Sharpie and Papermate, the survey also explored all of the ways Americans are basking in their creativity and found that many are thinking outside the box. 82% are also helpful about their own future and their community's future. It is inspiring to see just how many Americans consider themselves creative, though. It's clear that there is more creativity to be unleashed, said Gino Lazaro, the vice president of brand management for the companies. In addition to 3/4 of those polled lacking creative confidence, 44% say are looking for encouragement from people they care about. 43% want or need more practice, and 36% need more products to help them be more creative. The right tools and hands, Americans can overcome some of those barriers to creativity and improve their well-being. Almost 1 in 5 of all respondents engage in creativity daily, while another 37% do so weekly. Whether it's simple activities like doodling on the margins of a paper or adding color to your calendar, creative confidence can be built in small ways on an everyday basis, concluded Lazaro. No, that's a comment there.
Oh, okay.
You want me to read the comment? Yeah. That's a comment at the end. And in other good news, we can do this article short. They're both kind of short. They're not lengthy anywhere. Former UFC heavyweight champ Mark Coleman saves parents from house fire and fans raise $121K for hospital bills, which must be in America. Only in America. While visiting a childhood home, former UFC heavyweight champion, Hall of Famer Mark Coleman was woken up by his beloved dog Hammer at 4 a.m. as the house was being consumed with fire. Swapping his metaphorical championship belt for a cape, Coleman managed to run through the burning house and save his elderly parents before succumbing to smoke inhalation. Rushed to the hospital, he battled for his life until he was able to breathe on his own 3 days later. I had to make a decision, Coleman said about the house fire from his hospital bed. It was already horrible. I couldn't breathe. I'm the happiest man in the world. I swear to God, I am so lucky. I can't believe my parents are alive, he said with tears in his eyes after his daughters were allowed to see him for the first time. Tragically, Hammer, the hero who welcomed and perished in the fire. The same fate that almost befell Coleman, who suffered the worst from the smoke when he ran back to try and rescue his beloved Rottweiler. Oh, he tried to rescue his dog, and that's where he got the worst of it.
That's so
Why did
sad.
the dog not leave? Poor dog couldn't get out. The former champ's adult daughters, Mackenzie and Morgan, took unpaid leave to help Coleman recover. And they set up a GoFundMe pit to pay for his recovery and to help support his parents, who lost everything in the fire. At publishing time, $127,000 had been raised from friends, family, and fans alike. And this was published March 18th, so it was yesterday. So maybe he's gotten a few more donations since then. Yesterday, my dad was released from St. Vincent's Hospital in Toledo, where they thought he was stable enough to go home. We were only home in Columbus for about an hour when he started to have numbness in his arms and chest pain. My sister Morgan and I rushed him back to the hospital where they determined he was developing pneumonia. Despite all of this, he's still the same positive, spunky, spitfire self, just as I am. I'm sure you can imagine. He wants to thank all of you for your support and love you have shown him during his extremely difficult time. For those who are interested, Mark Coleman was the UFC 10 and 11 tournament champion and the organization's first ever heavyweight champion. In UFC 82, he was inducted in the UFC Hall of Fame for being the first competitor to use American freestyle wrestling to dominate his opponents, and showing martial arts around the world that if you can defend yourself from being taken down to the mat, you stand no chance being among the best fighters in the world. In his latest update, Coleman, frustrated but in good humor by his repeat hospitalization, said, "I'm going to get training, but they won't let me out of my bed." So there's your good news from America. Too bad he couldn't save the dog. Sad for the Rottweiler. Rest in peace, Boomer.
Did they say what caused the fire?
Hammer. No.
Yeah, it's a mystery. Okay. Deliberations from the firefighters. They will determine what caused the fire, because it's happened recently, right? So.
Fire marshals are investigating.
Yes.
Should be the last line of that article.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just curiosity. It's not important, but it's just a curiosity. Like, what caused it? You know? Oh, I left the oven running or something.
Yeah.
Don't leave your oven running, kids. Something.
As long as the dog didn't start it.
The dog was like, "What does this match do? Oh no!"
The dog was practicing some arc welding in his spare time.
Lost a good dog. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And some more good news. I guess that was both good news and sad news at the same time, that story.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in Ethiopia, a bank glitch may have paid you out millions. This is from Euronews Business. Ethiopia's largest commercial bank is trying to recover millions after a glitch allowed customers to withdraw cash they didn't have. Staff at the state-owned Commercial Bank of Ethiopia, CBE, did not immediately spot the problem, and by the time it was noticed and halted, some $40 million, or 36.7 million euros, had left the building. Metaphorically, because I think it was probably like just numbers in the computer. Bank boss Abe Sano revealed the loss to local journalists as he reported that much of the money had been taken out by students through their CBE accounts. News of the glitch, which happened last Saturday, which was March 16th, was spread via WhatsApp on other chat groups. The computer says yes to students. Hey, maybe somebody actually hacked their database and was like, students can get free money, but only students. University students formed long queues at campus ATMs as they rushed to withdraw money, only stopping when police officers arrived to intervene. Ethiopia's central bank, which oversees, oh no, it was actual physical money, okay, which oversees the country's financial sector, said the glitch had happened during a routine maintenance and inspection activities, while CBE President Sano stressed it was not a cyber attack. Okay, nobody hacked the database. Customer accounts were not affected and there was no cause for alarm. They just gave out money, and they're negative 40 million in their accounts. Some universities have urged their students to return the money, but so far it is not known how successful that appeal has been. CBA says anyone returning the money will not need to fear criminal charges. The bank, which has the slogan, "The bank you can always rely on," was set up more than 80 years ago and has more than 38 million customers. So if every customer took 1 million out, that's how much they lost. But it's only students, so the students must have took way more out than that, right? Because if they only have 38 million customers and they lost 40 million, but only students were the ones known to have done it. Students must have been taking way out more than 1 million out each or something. I took 10 million out. They just didn't say anything. I don't know. Either way, fun little goofy story. Banks. I don't know. Fuck banks. I don't care.
That's where all the money is.
The students won out on this one. That's all I have to say. In some architectural good news, this is from AP by Thomas Adamson. The 5-year journey of Notre Dame's restoration. The restoration of Notre Dame's cathedral in Paris following the tragic blaze in April 2019 is a story of dedication and recovery. The iconic medieval monument, immortalized in history, film, and literature, has been gradually built over the past 5 years, though through challenges that have included delays during the pandemic and the loss of the project's leader. It's slated for completion by the end of 2024. Here's a live timeline of events in the restoration. On April 2019, a fire ravages Notre Dame, collapsing its roof and spire and destroying its interior, unleashing a global wave of solidarity. A monumental effort to restore the cathedral's grandeur is launched, and French President Emmanuel Macron pledges to complete it within 5 years. I also like to point out there was a lot of social media buzz about how there's people dying out there and people are giving blessings to a church. That was a thing. A lot of people were quite pissed at the whitacity, I guess. Oh, that poor building burned down. There's people dying, Karen. But hey, it is a beautiful architectural piece. In 2020 of June, the pandemic delays work on the cathedral, but removing charred scaffolding has encased the spire, and previous restoration works marked a significant step. The cross and the rooster atop the Notre Dame de Paris is displayed now, even. August 2020, efforts begin to restore the organ that once thundered through the cathedral, France's largest musical instrument. The 80,000 pipe organ survived the fire, but was coated in toxic lead dust. Dismantling, cleaning, and resembling it expected to finish this year. March 2021, the first of an expected 1,000 historic French oak trees destined to rebuild the spire are selected from the Bercy forest in the French Loire region. So it's going to take another 1,000 years to build those trees up again. September 2021, work to secure the structure is finally completed after carpenters, scaffolding experts, climbers, and others helped build temporary structures as a special enormous umbrella to protect the towers, vaults and walls of the roofless building, bidding stairs on the rest of the reconstruction. Spring 2022, workshops of the master glassmakers and locksmiths from across France begin to laboriously process of cleaning and restoring the cathedral's famed stained glass windows. Help has also come from abroad. Germany's Cologne Cathedral restores 4 windows. In July 2023, massive oak trusses are hoisted onto Notre Dame, drawing Parisians to witness what is described as a magical moment intertwined with the preparations for Paris 2024 Olympics. August 2023, France mourns the sudden death of General Jean-Louis Georgelin, the French army general who had appointed to oversee the restoration. President Macron hails him as the greatest soldier, dedicated to restoring the Notre Dame stone by stone. December 2023, a golden rooster reimagined as a phoenix is returned to the top of the cathedral's spire, symbolizing Notre Dame's rebirth. Religious relics, including pieces of what's said to be Jesus Christ's crown of thorns, are placed in a time capsule inside the golden bird. Scaffolding is removed in 2024. to unveil the cathedral's new spire, adorned with a golden rooster and a cross. It offers a glimpse into the future of Notre Dame near its grand reopening. So, I guess get excited. I guess they're trying to... I don't think they're going to make it for the Olympics, but after the Olympics, you can definitely go check out the Notre Dame. You can always go walk by it and look at it. It's mostly just scaffolding. I think we walked by it, and yeah, it's just scaffolding for days. So there's not much to see, really. It's just metal pipes. But hopefully, by the end of 2024, it'll be there to be touristed again. And I'm sure they had actual religious ceremony inside of it. It's weird to have a church and not actually use it for what it's for. So congratulations to all the hardworking engineers and architects and workers in general, glassmakers, locksmiths, for helping repair the burned down church. On to your story.
Okie dokie. And what went right this week in the news? This is from positive.news, which is a UK site. So it's what happened this week in UK, basically. UK's cancer death rate plummeted. Cancer deaths in middle-aged adults plummeted by a third in the UK between 1993 and 2018, despite cases of cancer rising. That's according to Cancer Research UK study, which showed that mortality rates have dropped by 37% in men and 33% in women in the UK. One of the standout successes was in preventing deaths from cervical cancer. The mortality rate for the disease fell by 54.3%, a milestone attributed to improved screening. The HPV vaccination is expected to make a further huge impact on the reduction of the disease, Cancer Research UK said. The study also found that lung cancer mortality rates fell by 53.2% in men and 20.7% in women, following a reduction in smoking. The decline recorded in the UK mirrors that of the US, where cancer death rates have fallen by a third since 1991. But amid the good news, there is a note of caution. Cancer Research UK warned that all UK nations are failing to meet their cancer waiting time targets and that the health staff are under extreme pressure. It's vital that the UK government takes bold action to keep momentum up, says John Sheldon, leading author of the study. Now it's time to go further and faster, building on the success of decades of research and improvements in healthcare. That is your short story from Positive News. Another story about cancer with good news. A British man who was given 9 months to live after being diagnosed with brain cancer is doing well after taking part in a world's first immunotherapy trial. Brian Trotman, 41, was diagnosed with glioblastoma, the most aggressive form of brain cancer, in October 22. The following January, he participated in a clinical trial where he received immunotherapy prior to the standard treatment of surgery, radiotherapy, and chemotherapy. He married his fiancée Emily the same month. Trotman, who had a strong reaction to the treatment, was hospitalized with extreme headache, which doctors believe was a sign the treatment was working. His latest scans showed no evidence of high-grade disease in his tumor. We obviously don't know what the future holds, but having had the immunotherapy treatment and getting these encouraging scan results has given Emily and I a bit of hope, said Trotman. The trial is run by Dr. Paul Mulholland in University College London, which he hopes to open more trials. And then one more good news story, because those are so short.
Yeah.
More about the Europeans. Their mini Holland schemes got the UK moving. What's a mini Holland scheme? Well, let's find out. They are the traffic schemes that British tabloids love to hate. But despite the media fueled controversy over low traffic neighborhoods, new research shows that they boost active travel and save the nation money. A study based on 6 years of survey among people living in London LTNs linked the schemes with a switch from driving to walking and cycling. Those behind the research put the economic benefit of the mini Holland schemes at the more than £1 billion savings, mainly through healthcare savings in 20 years. Active travel and interventions provide high value for money when comparing health economic commitments to costs of implementation. Included the study led by Professor Rachel Aldred of Westminster University. I still don't know what they're talking about. Her research coincided with a separate study in London School of Economics and Vitality. It estimated that selling a national target of 5,000 steps a day in the UK would save the National Health Service $15 billion by reducing rates of chronic illness, including cancer and diabetes. The study was based on data from millions of people in the UK and South Africa. Both sets of research came as Lambeth Council in South London scrapped one LTN scheme after complaints that led to slower bus journeys. So we got to figure out what they're talking about. Do you know what this means?
Yeah, no.
Impact, what?
You asked me if I knew what it means.
It says, yeah, it says me. Okay, let's figure out what this is. Active travel interventions in the uptake. Active travel interventions typically seek to increase the amount of people using active modes, walking or cycling. However, limitations of community-used methods mean that identifying such changes and attributing them to the scheme is frequently problematic, both within routine local monitoring and academic research. I see in the picture what it consists of is they're blocking off roads. They're making sure these narrow roads are not taken by cars.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take that road. Wait, I can't take it. I got to walk or I got to
Yeah, in the Netherlands, we have these giant, I'm sure you've seen them because you've been here a couple times, but it's just like a big pole that pops out of the road. So it blocks cars from going that way because, you know, you'll have to drive your car into a pole.
That's what they're
talking about. But a bike and
Yep.
people can still go through there, but a car couldn't fit. Yeah.
That's what they're doing, and it happens in a lot of gated communities too. Like this used to be a road, not anymore. We don't want your stinky, smelly car in front of our house. Thank you. And those are good news from England, basically.
Yeah.
The good news from UK. Back to you. Oh, and I sent you a link. I couldn't find anything great, but there you go.
Okay. Then let's go into our culture segment here with some good news. If you're a James Bond fan, there might be a new one coming with Craig putting his pistol away. I don't know. Taking off his mantle, putting his pistol away. Forget about the whereabouts of Kate Middleton and the conspiracy theories regarding Kensington Palace's disinformation tactics. This is the only royal announcement we're interested in, at least at Euronews Culture, where this article is coming from, of course, David Morquand. I think he's the only culture writer on the whole website. The identity of the next 007 is always a closely guarded secret until the official reveal. However, according to recent reports, next James Bond is about to be announced. Not to brag or anything, but the actor rumored to be officially cast has been on Euronews' Culture's radar for a while now. Okay, we put him on a list of 10 people could possibly be, and since we finally got one right after all this time. In December 2022, Euronews published an article on how all signs are pointing towards Aaron Taylor-Johnson, the star of Kick-Ass, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Nocturnal Animals, and Bullet Train, as the 7th actor to play 007 in the official films. I thought he was great in Kick-Ass. That was an interesting film. I've only seen that film. I don't know who he played in Age of Ultron, so I guess he was the fast guy? I guess he was the fast guy. Yeah, who dies. Our sources at the time told us that Taylor-Johnson had been screen tested for the role and that the 33-year-old was the only one to beat the eyes of Bond producer Barbara Broccoli and Michael J. Wilson. Broccoli. Her name is literally Barbara Broccoli. That's amazing. He has yet to be officially accept the iconic part, but a source, I'm going British all of a sudden, a source told The Sun, Bond is Aaron's job, should he wish to accept it, and that the formal offer is on the table, and they are waiting to hear back. The Sun's source added, as far as Eon is concerned, Aaron is going to sign his contract in the coming days, and they can start preparing for the big announcement. As for the main man himself, he was interviewed by Numero magazine last week about rumors linking him with the role. In response, he said, I find it charming and wonderful that people see me in that role. I take it as a great compliment. So there goes our hopes for some much needed diversity in casting. Yeah, like a black James Bond. But there's no denying that Taylor Johnson is a fine and versatile actor who's more than capable of succeeding Daniel Craig, who holstered his Walter... There we go. He holstered his Walter PPK and hung his tuxedo up following the release of No Time to Die in 2021. That's what I wanted to say, man. It's like he put his pistol away. Hung his tuxedo. Yeah, okay. Put it to the dry cleaners. Don't return it. Of course, until an official statement is released by Eon Productions, which produces the Bond films, pinches of salt for everyone. However, despite 007 producer Barbara Broccoli repeatedly saying that they haven't even begun the process of shaping the next James Bond movie, they may be about to announce the identity of the future iconic spy. Previously rumored candidates for the role were Safe, Reed Boring, Betts, Henry Cavill, Richard Madden, James Norton, as well as more promising actors like Regé-Jean Page, recent Oscar winner Cillian Murphy, and of course fan favorite Idris Elba, who I believe rumor has it was actually offered the role, and he saw all the hate he got on the internet for even being considered for the role and said, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna have a bunch of racists yelling the N-word at me because I happen to play a traditionally white spy in a film. Like, he was like, I'm good. I'm not gonna deal with that bullshit. You, good luck. Go hire a white guy. It'll be safer for everyone. I don't think Cillian Murphy would ever be James Bond. I'm sorry. I don't see that as a thing he would do. But maybe if enough money's offered, I guess you would say yes. Some people are like that. Elba has ruined himself out ages ago and even stated that disgusting comments about his race put him off. As for Murphy, his barnstorming performance in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer could be a great shout, but he may be suited for a villainous role. Yeah, he's a really great villain. In Peaky Blinders, he was great as like a kind of anti-hero character. Ian have prior form here where it comes to snapping up recent Oscar winners and casting them as antagonists. Just look at what happened to Rami Malek post Bohemian Rhapsody. If it turns out to be Taylor Johnson, he would follow Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig in taking in the part. The actor will soon appear in Sony's latest Spider-Man spin-off superhero offering, Kraven the Hunter, which, considering the studio's recent string of disasters, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius and Madam Web, does not look to be terribly promising. The Bond gig could just be what Taylor Johnson needs to ensure his career doesn't take a plunge courtesy of the Spider-Man adjacent universe, and allows the 007 franchise to reinvent itself for its next and daunting post-Craig chapter. So, there you go. There's at least David's opinion on what we should think about this. I've never watched any of the James Bond films. Of course, as a woman, it's famously sold to me as a chauvinistic film about, a guy just sleeping with a girl and then she gets killed by the end of the film. That's what's been sold to me. That's not my opinion. That's just what's been sold to me. I've never really watched them. I do like spy thrillers and that kind of stuff. I love the Bourne series, but the Bourne series reinvented the spy thriller, so of course I'm gonna like the thing that reinvented the entire genre, It's like, I like Lord of the Rings. Oh, really? The thing that reinvented the fantasy film genre. Who would have thought? But yeah. I like a good mystery. I like a good detectiving and spies and stuff like that. But I just never... Maybe I should watch all of them and then have a conclusive opinion on every single film, but yeah, just I haven't watched them. I haven't been... Yeah. I just rewatched Lord of the Rings over and over again because I'm boring, I guess.
I guess I was never into James Bond at all ever either, so maybe that's why you never watched I never rented the movies, because
yeah, I guess so.
James Bond, what they frickin' do, they're all kind of the same, aren't they? It's like watching Batman without the humor.
Well, some of them are a result of their time, right? Like, depending on how old the film is, it's more like Russian-centered or, more post 9/11 centered, stuff like that.
I really hated James Bond, I believe, was Ian Fleming, the guy that wrote all the books, because he could only sell James Bond books.
Yeah. Hey,
look, I wrote this book about, the French Revolution. Yeah. Is James Bond in it? No? Okay, well, we're not buying it. Okay.
I don't care about anything if it doesn't have James Bond.
That's right. So Ian Fleming had a James Bond, probably depression at the end of his life. Who knows? I don't want to assign anything he didn't have, but I imagine it's tough being typecast is you can only write James Bond and stuff. You know, like what's her name? J.K. Rowling. She probably I can only write Harry Potter stories.
Nah, she actually has
count your millions.
Ghost writing name where she ghostwriter.
That's true.
A pseudonym.
That's probably what Ian Fleming
She has a
had to do.
pseudonym called something Galbraith, and she writes a bunch of really weird.
Right on. Well, she's probably a bad example. Sorry.
Yeah.
This day in history, 1452, Frederick III became the last Holy Roman Emperor to be crowned by a Pope, Nicholas V. Remember the Holy Roman Empire? Oh,
no, I don't. I was
the good
not
old
alive.
days. The good old days of the Inquisition. 1560, in the conspiracy of Ambrosius, French Huguenot aristocrats failed to overthrow the Roman Catholic House of Guise. In
Wow, that's a history
1687,
bomb right there.
Guise, yeah, the queen that married James V and made him his son King of England, basically. James V of Scotland. There is no James V of England. 1687, while on an expedition to find the mother of the mother, wow. While expedition to find the mouth of the Mississippi River, French explorer René Robert Cavelier Sire de La Salle was murdered by his men in what is now Texas. La Salle had previously claimed a large region around the river for Louis XIV of France, naming it Louisiana. So I didn't know La Salle was murdered by his... Oof. Now, 1860, William Jennings Bryan, a Democratic and populist leader and a magnetic orator, unsuccessfully ran 3 times for the U.S. presidency, was born. In 1911, the first International Women's Day was observed. 1911 was the first International Women's Day. I think that was like last week, right? Like Friday before last. Anyway, 1918, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson signed the Standard Time Act, which established daylight savings time in the United States. The legislation also gave the federal government oversight of the country's time zones, making sure everybody's trains are running on time. But that daylight savings time sure as hell didn't help. Let's answer the question. I have an answer to the question, what is daylight savings time? Sometimes called summertime. Daylight savings time temporarily extends daylight hours during the time when most people are awake. Much of the United States begins daylight savings time at 2 a.m. on the second Sunday in March and reverts to standard time on first Sunday in November. Different countries have different change dates. Although DST was first proposed by Benjamin Franklin in 1784, it began in the United States during World War I, primarily to save fuel by reducing the need to use artificial lighting at factories, nowhere else. I don't think it's anything to do with just factories.
Well, the myth, but there was a myth that Germany invented daylight saving time. So that's
although
false.
Some U.S. states, that's a myth. Yeah, it's just a myth. It was signed into law by Woodrow Wilson. Although some U.S. states and communities observed daylight saving time between wars, it was not observed nationally again until World War II. Today, most of the United States continues to use it. Okay, back to this day in history. On this day in 1920, Józef Pilsudski was named Marshal of Poland. Changed his name to Marshal. Just kidding. 1931, Nevada legalized gambling, which paved the way for casinos in the state, most notably Las Vegas, I guess. 1954, American journalist Jill Abramson, who was the first woman to serve as executive director of the New York Times, was born. She's no longer in that job, which they probably should have somebody doing that job that's better at it than the current person who sucks. In 1962, on this day, American musician Bob Dylan released his first and eponymous debut album to mixed reviews. And of course, included the song House of the Rising Sun, which was covered by the Animals and turned into a great hit. But they did use Bob Dylan's cover of the song. And I prefer the Bob Dylan version because it's longer and has more it's more profound because the song is sung from the point of view of a girl, right? The Animals changed it to the point of view of a boy, right? And a boy is trying to escape a whorehouse in New Orleans, really? Either it's a very progressive song about male prostitution, or it's completely wrong. You know, it's like, yeah, this song was written about a girl who's, you know, she lives at the House of Rising Sun because she's a prostitute. That's what the song's written about. It's not written about a boy. But the Animals got a #1 hit off of it. So, even though it makes no literal sense. 1996, one of the world's worst fires in history, the Philippines swept through Manila discotheque, killing 159 of the 400 people in the nightclub, which is intended to hold no more than 35. Holy crap. That's a little bit packed. In 1982, Argentine forces mobilized after a dispute between Argentine workers and British scientists on a British-controlled South Georgia Island, leading to Argentina's invasion of the Falkland Islands 2 weeks later. Oh, yeah. Remember that one? Margaret Thatcher got her war wings on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He kicked them Argentinians out of Falkland Islands. We're badass. 1996, Dutch-American artist William de Koning, a major exponent of abstract expressionism, action painting, whose series Woman 1 through 6 caused a stir with his violent images and impulsive technique, died at the age of 92. 2008, Arthur C. Clarke died. He wrote Space Odyssey, and among other science fiction novels, Stanley Kubrick's hugely successful motion picture. 2014, American church leader Fred Phelps, who founded the Westboro Baptist Church, which became known for its strident, anti-gay rights nonsense, died at the age of 84. They're Fred Phelps. Westboro Baptist Church is a bunch of morons. And featured event today on this day, Iraq War begins in this day in 2003. U.S. President George W. Bush ordered the airstrikes on Baghdad, thus launching another Iraq war. The oust dictator Saddam Hussein, who was believed wrongly to be manufacturing weapons of mass destruction. So
also, it was an illegal war because it didn't go through Congress, right? He just said,
George Bush He did go through Congress. He did go through Congress in 2002. He said, I have the right to blah, 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 run a war, and they gave him that right. So it did go through Congress. And again, he lied about the evidence that they had. And again, it's an illegal war. George W. Bush, another
and also killed like a bunch of people because they just bombed the city, you know, at nighttime.
Just
when people are all home, sleeping in their bed, you know, let's bomb a city when they're all sleeping.
All of these wars we start can be taken care of by a commando raid. You know, the war in Iraq to get rid of Bin Laden, commando raid took him out, right? And he was in Pakistan. We didn't start a war in Pakistan. We didn't invade Pakistan. He was in Pakistan for most of that time, and a commando raid would have taken him out. A commando raid would have taken out Saddam Hussein too. Totally unnecessary
to bomb civilian city,
death and destruction. Yeah, and again, you're bombing hospitals, bombing weddings. They drop bombs on just about everybody where people were gathered without even caring what they were doing. So we do not in the United States stand with moral authority on anyone, unfortunately, no matter how much crap we try to spin. Other birthdays today: Glenn Close, born in 1947, and they got the math right in this one. She's turned 77 today. William Jennings Bryant, we already covered. Albert Speer, which for some reason we want to know about, the German Nazi architect, born in 1905. And again, Adolf Eichmann, another German military official, born in 1906. So they had birthdays year apart. Hey, Nazis, hope you're hugging each other in hell. Glenn Close, birthday we covered, and it's also Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, ex-husband of this young lady behind me here, Demi Moore. His birthday, he was born in 1955. Happy birthday to Bruce Willis. Our time capsule, March 19, 2001, in a racially charged atmosphere and amid rioting, elections held in Guyana returned President Bharat Jagdeo to power with 53% of the vote for his third consecutive term. He was sworn in on March 24th. Guyana is a democracy. There you go. Way to go, Guyana. And a national day calendar. Oh, this day in music. This day in music. Can't forget that. Other than Bob Dylan's first release, we have other things that happen this day in music. Just because I do this once in a while, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. We covered Bruce Willis's birthday, right? Mm-hmm. And what else do we have going on? The Beatles. UK Prime Minister Harold Wilson presented the Beatles with their awards for show business personalities of the year in 1963's London Dorchester Hotel. And this day in 1964, so the year before. Jefferson Airplane in 1974. Jefferson Airplane renamed the group and became Jefferson Starship. The new lineup included Paul Kettner, Grace Slick, drummer Johnny Barbata, David Freeberg, Peter Kokkonen, who is a really good guitar player, Chiquiso, and Papa John Creech. Had a lot of people in that band. In 1982, another sad day, Ozzy Osbourne guitarist and former Quiet Riot member Randy Rhoads was killed when the plane he was riding in crashed. After driving much of the night, the band stopped near a small airstrip. The tour bus driver, Andrew Aycock, talked the band's keyboardist, Don Airy, into taking a test flight in a 55 Beechcraft Bonanza. The joyride ended with the plane landed safely. Then Aycock took Rhoads and Rachel Youngblood on another flight. Attempts were made to buzz the tour bus. The left wing clipped the bus, which sent the plane spiraling into a nearby house and bursting into flames. All three bodies were burned beyond recognition. So just some idiot hotshot pilot showing off. Hey, everybody, look what I can do. Moron. Okay.
That's pilots for you. They are kind of no care for their lives in a way, right? That's what we've said before on this show. They just...
That's right. And this day in 1988, Michael Jackson began construction on his 2,800 acre ranch, Neverland Ranch, in 1988. And one more I wanted to get to. 2007, Luther Ingram, U.S. soul singer Luther Ingram, died from a heart attack at the age of 69. Ingram scored a 1972 U.S. number 2 hit with If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right, and wrote the Staple Singers hit Respect Yourself, which of course was covered by Bruce Willis, whose birthday it is today. So that's a kind of a complete loop of closure on that.
Look at that, yeah. Sometimes it works out that way.
His one hit song was written by a guy who died on his birthday. So you go. Interesting, huh? I think it is. Anyway.
Yeah.
What day is it today? It's National Poultry Day. So go hug a chicken. National Caramel Day. So go eat some chocolate with chocolate caramel.
Get it stuck in your teeth.
Chocolate Caramel Day. It's National Chocolate Caramel Day. Not just caramel. Chocolate
Put
caramel.
some cocoa beans in that sugar and get some cavities.
Just some caramel on the inside. It's National Let's Laugh Day. Release them endorphins. Release them. They've been trapped for too long. It's National AG Day, which I believe stands for agriculture because it's a picture of a whole bunch of vegetables. It's National Certified Nurses Day because you don't want to go visit an uncertified nurse, for sure. Spring Begins is today, which is the 19th this year because of leap day. National 3D Day is the third National Third Week in March. 3D Day, National 3D, 3 dimensions. I think we're all three-dimensional today, as in every other day. National Backyard Day. If you have a backyard, go jump around on your trampoline. So those are your days for today.
Woo!
March 19th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
All right. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands where the sun is shining brightly. And I will... Getting excited for spring coming soon. Next week, I believe, we will be going to our daylight savings, or I guess the opposite, summertime. So I'll finally have more daylight as well. And tomorrow will be Wacky and Weird Wednesday, so make sure to come back to either YouTube or Twitch and watch our wacky and weird news stories that have been happening the last week or so. And here is your mic
Are we doing
drop.
brackets tomorrow?
Oh, you want to buy? Oh, we should do brackets right now, actually. You're right.
Should we? I thought we were doing them Wednesday and Thursday and Friday.
We should just do one today because then we have to do less next time. Because there's games.
Just record it. We'll do your mic drop
There should have been games already today, I thought. Because it says
no,
319.
the play-in games are tonight. Yeah.
Oh, they haven't played it right.
Games.
Yeah, because I'm in the future and you're in the past, so they haven't played the games today.
Yeah. No, they haven't played them yet.
They have to play the game
tonight.
today. Okay. I think what we can do is we can do the picks for the first round, but only, I guess, East and South, or should we do East and West?
Are you playing a mic drop?
Huh?
Did you play the mic drop already?
No, we're still live. I haven't played the mic drop yet.
Oh, okay.
Because you
Go
interrupted
ahead and do the
me.
mic drop then.
So we can.
The show's already too long. We gotta do a mic
Okay.
drop. So.
All right, then here is your mic drop moment.
Spring is here. Birds are calling. Skunks are crawling, wagging their tails for love. Spring is here. Whales are churning. Worms are squirming, wagging their tails for love. What is this thing of which I sing that makes us all bewitched? What is this thing that comes in spring that gives us all the itch? Oh, it's love, it's love, it's love, 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 love,
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.